I didn't grow up on a farm. I grew up in a suburban setting. But I always had a sense of adventure. And one day, long on about my mid-20s, I read a book about small farming, and it made it sound like an adventure. And at that point, I was a teacher, and I used to spend all my vacations running rivers or climbing mountains. And I decided, wow, why don't I spend the next summer vacation growing food and see if this is as much fun as this book makes it out to be. And it turned out that it was so much fun, I quit teaching and became a farmer. My daughter Melissa, who was in the 9th grade, told me how glad she was that I was an organic farmer. I remember thinking how great that was, that she was beginning to understand these concepts, that she recognized the importance of these ideas. But instead of saying, thank you, I made the mistake of asking her why she was glad I was an organic farmer. Well, she said, because organic is cool. I mean, if you were just an ordinary farmer, I couldn't hold my head up among my friends. I started on a rented piece of land while I was still teaching. I was in New Hampshire at the time. I knew a lot of the locals who lived around there. They knew where I lived and would stop by. And when I started gardening that first summer, here were the old-timers coming over to ask this beginner, my gosh, how did you grow that? And that was the point when I realized, gee, you know, I bet it's actually easier to do it this way. When soil is used to produce at its full potential, the soil on our own farms can provide everything we need in a low-work system by taking advantage of the synergy inherent in all the diverse pieces of the biology at our disposal. A fertile soil has the power to make the small farm ever more independent of purchased inputs and ever more independent of the corporate industrial world. Early organic farmers, when they started out, they realized, you know, we've been trying these chemicals, we don't like the look of our crops, our animals aren't as healthy. I think we need to figure out how to do a better job of what our ancestors had been doing. And they hadn't looked into it as thoroughly as they could have. And that's exactly what organic farmers have been doing. They've been taking age-old ideas and just doing them much better, making better compost, setting up better crop rotations, figuring out different ways in which there is a symbiosis between different parts of the biology on a farm. Rediscovering the immutable value of the small farm is the first step toward a new agriculture for the 21st century and possibly a new world of the 21st century. When I wrote my first book, The New Organic Grower, I think I wrote it mainly to pay back all those nice farmers who I had been visiting over the years, who had been kind enough to share information with me that had made my farming better. Once we started playing around with the winter harvest, this concept was so much fun and was so successful. So four-season harvest, we started with that because we had begun with these ideas on the home garden scale. And then the Winter Harvest Handbook came about because then we next moved into doing these ideas on a commercial scale, and we wanted to inform commercial growers of what was going on. And basically just a case of passing on information, but trying to make very sure that we're passing on hard information that we know works because it's worked for us and we've done it for a long time.